So, you apparently have been busy in the last year and a half. I think
Yeah,
that's the last time we spoke.
yeah. I looked at the video we did last time, and it was about a year ago. I really didn't have um, any ideas that I would be selling my entire collection of not only the Stan Lee signed books, but the other graded books. I've got another 120,000 comic books in my lower level of my house that are raw, but many of them are, very good books. And if I ever have the Joneses and I want to go read some comic books, I'll just grab a box and start reading. But these books that you're wanting to see and talk about. Those I read as a child. I remember the stories. They're encapsulated, they're graded, they're signed by, in my opinion, the greatest writer of all time, and my late good friend Stan Lee. I noticed it was March of 2015 that books signed by Stan were getting more money on eBay than books not signed by Stan. And I had all these
Correct.
books that I could have got signed by Stan. So I sent an email to Stan Lee Collectibles that day, and I attached the link to the article written about me risking my life to meet Stan Lee and how that whole thing went down. I get a call back from his PR person, one of his managers, and we showed it to Stan, and he said, if there's a guy out there stupid enough to risk his life for my signature, I want to meet him. So I had brought these books, and he starts signing my books before the fitting. And I had about 480 copies of Amazing Spider-Man number 361, the first appearance of Carnage. And Stan signing one copy after another of the same book, 361, 361. And finally, he turns to me and he says, what, did you buy the whole print run? And I laughed. I said, no, I knew someone who had a comic book distribution business that sold to all the grocery stores and the drugstores. It was a great experience. And every time I'd show up at a convention, Stan knew my name. He couldn't compliment me enough on the suit. I made Jim Shooter clothes, Bob Layton, Fabian Nicieza, Deadpool writer,
Yep.
Eric Larson, Randy Emberlin. I made suits for in exchange for signatures,
Of course,
at conventions. And I became known throughout the industry as Stan Lee's personal tailor, which I guess is true. I made him some clothes, and yes, I'm a tailor, and I did that. There it is. So then I decided just like 2 months ago that I couldn't worry about all this anymore. Work and worry. And so I contacted comiclink, and Josh Nathanson, the owner of comiclink, was very nice and cordial. And he says, you deserve more respect than just a CGC label. What you've done and worked hard at, let's see what we can do. And I said, well, what I'd like it to say would be from the collection of David Parsow, Stan Lee's personal tailor, since that's what, if you Google, that's what the articles
yep.
quote me as. And sure enough, I got my own label on not only the signature books, but also the books that were not signed, but still from my collection. And so that auction starts this coming Friday, the Friday before the week of Thanksgiving. It's 10 days. And as you know from what I showed you, I've got many of the highest rated signed books by Stan Lee in existence.
Okay, so let me just clarify for a lot of people who don't know too much about comiclink and auctions and labels. So this is a website that auctions off collectibles, specifically comic books.
And those are all my books. And you see that in red where it's the highest graded or second highest graded, and they all say from the collection of David Parsow, and it's in the yellow label as well, and the blue label as well too. So CGC has been very nice, and
Single
know,
highest graded ASM3.
yeah,
You have the highest graded Amazing Spider-Man #3
strong book,
in CGC.
right,
You have the highest graded ASM #4.
right,
You have the one of two, the highest graded ASM #8.
right.
You have one of four, the highest graded ASM #9.
First Electro, yeah.
One of three of the highest graded ASM 10. Just to put things in perspective, most people will probably never own the highest graded anything in CGC, and you have not only several of the highest graded copies of books, but you also have the second highest graded of
Yeah.
some of these.
Yeah, there's second, there's thirds.
Yeah.
But it was really, there was a lot of pressure, as I mentioned in a conversation you and I had, that some of these books I had to crack out from high grades to get signed.
Right.
And the stress of them getting damaged or lost, was there. So, I went through a lot of stress that last year getting these books signed, a lot of these last ones, but it all seems to have worked out. I've been very, very lucky.
But why did you decide to auction these off?
Well, the timing is right. The market is ripe for this. Prices have anybody who knows the business has seen these. Again, worrying about them when I'm out of town. Insurance is expensive for collectibles. And I have other copies of these books. They're rags. They're maybe missing coupons or something, but I can read the stories. And it's just was a burden. And if I was to, put up a wall or have a wall in my house with all these, that's just as risky as leaving them in my house. Somebody could come in 10 minutes, have $3 million worth of books off of a wall. And so, it's time. I'm getting rid of the books, but I'm not getting rid of the memories. So it's just the right thing to do at the right time, and let people get them who enjoy them. And there's collectors out there that maybe it'll make their day. I'm sure it will. I've had a lot of people contact me and want to buy these books outright from me before the auction. Well, no. comiclink has been very nice to me. They came to my house. They packaged everything up in front of me.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did everything. And to coordinate and get me my own label, I mean, that is something that wow.
Well, I've only ever seen maybe one other. I mean, there's a few pedigree labels, right? But
Right.
not all of those have a very specific title. Like you mentioned, I've only ever seen Nicolas Cage,
Right.
from his collection, right? Maybe Frank Miller, but otherwise, those are all people in the industry. Those are famous people.
Right.
And now you're on here.
Yeah, I know. I'm really. I actually got quite emotional when Josh sent me the copy of my Fantastic Four #1 that's in that auction. So it means a lot to me to have had this happen this way, and all the work I put in for so many years, and to be lucky enough to be noticed for this. And yeah, I may not sound speechless, but I am.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's not something you were seeking out, right? This wasn't something that you had planned from the beginning. You were just a fan, and then a friend, and then Tailor. But now, like, you're forever tied and linked to Stan Lee, like in print. That's, I think, the other big thing, right? Like, you already you have these memories that most people will never have. But now
what you just said, I haven't really put it into those words. You just said, I will forever be linked with Stan Lee. And to me, that is just beyond my comprehension, to think that my hero at the age of 8 years old and through those years, I am now forever linked. I mean, I'm just mind-boggling.
And I want to just give some context as to how I know you. I actually was on eBay, like a lot of people, and I saw somebody, Palm Trees Collectibles or something like that, selling some Stanley signed comic books. And I was like, wow, a book that I've wanted signed by him is on eBay for a pretty good price. And well, you know, I happened to be lucky enough to win it. And I was curious about Palm Trees, you know, the name. I was like, where did that come from? Is that a store or whatever? And I researched it. I found out that it was a handle that you use. And I was like, who's David Parsow? And I looked up that name and I was like, huh, that's weird. It's a tailor somewhere in Nebraska. Like, that's odd. And then the next article below that was Tailor, David Parsow, Tailor to Stanley. And I was like, I wonder if they're the same person. And so I did more research and I read that exact article from Omaha saying that you were his fan and his tailor. And I put 2 and 2 together and I was like, wow, I can't believe I just bought a book from Stanley's personal tailor.
Which book, by the way, did you buy?
I bought X-Men 1, the one with Beast. It was the Jim Lee cover.
Yeah, one of the 4 covers that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I had it signed by Stan and Chris Claremont and Jim Lee.
That's right. It was triple signed. Correct.
Yeah.
And
I only probably had about 250 of those.
At the time. So now, how many do you still have? All of them?
No, I have none of those. At one time I had, I think 250 of those, but only I couldn't find the ones with the Magneto cover, which was a shame.
That's
I had the other 3 covers and the collector's edition, but I got signed by all 3 people. And I'm really excited to see this auction start this Friday. And
I might have to partake in it.
I hope you do. And if you do buy a book, I will be happy to autograph the case. I don't think we want to crack it out, but I'll be happy to send you a certificate of authentication.
Okay. So my question, David, my question for you is, I own a book from you. You know, I own a book from you. We both have the receipts.
Yeah.
I want to know how I can get my book pedigreed and the label to certify that it is from the personal tailor of Stanley. What can I do to make that happen?
I would have no idea how, and I just don't have an answer. I seriously doubt that CGC would take anybody's word, even if it was mine.
Yeah.
To say this is from my collection.
Yeah.
You can imagine that there's a lot of people out there that are going to see it and say, "Oh, I got all these books," and I'm going to say they were bought by, they were David Parsons' collection. Well, even though the serial number of yours would match my invoice,
correct.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it's a question that needs to be proposed to perhaps
somebody,
comiclink, or even going to CGC.
Yeah.
But they're not easy to deal with.
It's okay. I like a challenge, and I think that might be my next project to try and get that to happen.
Right? And if you need me to, you really shouldn't, because the serial number matches my invoices.
It was submitted by you, correct?
Yeah, it's plain and simple. So
interesting.
If I was a warm, giving,
greater at the time,
gracious person at CGC, I would say, why not? It'll pay $25 for a new case or whatever the cost is. And it is, you can send in a book for a new
holder,
Spider-Man label, or whatever those signature other things are called.
Oh, that's true.
So you could go about that route and see if that works.
Yep. I like the way you think, David. I think this is going to be my little project. Let's
well, thank you, Mark, very much.
Yeah,
it's been fun, and
let's do this again soon.
I'm here if you need me, and vice versa.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right, be well.
All right, take care.